Imagine, if you will, a world where silk is scandalous, coffee is considered the devil's beverage, and even the humble banana is viewed with suspicion. Throughout history, moral panic has led to the most surprising things being censored or discouraged. From ancient Rome, where wearing silk could tarnish your reputation, to the New World, where the suggestive shape of bananas was seen as scandalous. The world of taboo is filled with unusual twists and turns that often go beyond rational reasoning. And just when you think that these examples can't get any more bizarre, there is this one thing that takes the cake. But you'll have to wait a bit longer to find out. What's up, my amazing and curious folks? Ready to unravel mysteries together? I'm your host, Caesar, and with me, bringing her brilliant insights to our discussions, is none other than Sonia.
Hey there, everyone. It's so great to be here.
We're thrilled to have you all joining us on Curiosity Wonderland. Remember, we're here every day at 10, 14, and 20 hours, unearthing the most fascinating subjects. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell icon to stay updated with our latest episodes. Now, let's dive right into today's curiosity. We all know that mankind certainly has a knack for moral panics. Over the course of our civilization, countless things have been censored or discouraged out of fear that they could lead society into anarchy and depravity. Though, in most cases, these fears have not materialized. Even today, we can find examples of such censorship, despite these fears often being unfounded. Take coffee, for example. Can you believe it was once considered satanic? And surfing, of all things, was labeled as the pastime of savages. Let's take a step back in time to ancient Rome. Now, we often relate moral degeneracy to sex. Different societies have banned or discouraged certain behaviors that they feared would lead to a social breakdown. Ancient Rome was no different. Sexuality was heavily regulated and scrutinized. But here's where it gets strange. The Romans took issue with silk. Yes, the fabric. Silk was popular across the empire, a favorite amongst the wealthy for flaunting their riches. But it didn't sit well with Roman moralists. The writer Seneca thought that women wearing silk were essentially parading around in the nude. Even though women were criticized for it, silk was still seen as a feminine fabric. When it came to men wearing silk, the Romans went a step further. Pliny the Elder believed that men wearing silk contributed to the decline of Roman culture. And Emperor Tiberius, he outright banned men from wearing silk. Quite a tale, isn't it? But hold on. Silk wasn't the only thing that got the Roman moralists all riled up. They had another target, the works of the famous poet Ovid. Under Emperor Augustus, Ovid's poetry was censored. And this wasn't just a Roman thing. Fast forward to the 15th century Florence. His books were burned during the infamous Bonfire of the Vanities, and were banned by the Bishop of London a century later. Quite interesting, isn't it? Here we have two seemingly harmless things, silk and poetry, that were seen as threats to morality and social order. It makes you wonder what else was seen as immoral, doesn't it? Well, stick around, folks. We have more surprises in store for you. Circling back to Ovid, his works were not just censored, they were downright illegal to import to the United States until 1930. Even some translations of his works would conveniently leave out parts that were considered inappropriate. Sex plays a prominent role in all of his major works. He wrote extensively about it and didn't stick to fictional scenarios. His book Art of Love, or Ars Amatoria, was essentially a how-to guide on seducing the opposite sex. Now brace yourselves. It held the record for the longest history of censorship of any book. Only when it was recognized as a literary classic under US law was it finally allowed to be imported. But mind you, not because it was reassessed for its morality.
Wow, that's quite the censorship. Can you give us an idea of what was so scandalous in this book? Just some examples to give us context.
Well, Ovid was quite detailed in his writings, like a genuine love doctor. There were tips for men on how to find, win, and retain love. He would delve into things like where to meet women, how to make the first move, even what gifts to give. And not just that, there was a sequel specifically for women, advising them on fashion, seductive dancing, and how to make themselves attractive to men. It's not surprising that such explicit content was deemed scandalous at the time. Moving to another curiosity, coffee. It's unimaginable now, but our beloved cup of joe was initially called Satan's drink in Europe when it began gaining popularity in the 17th century. The reason? Its association with the Ottoman Empire, which was gaining power and taking over Christian parts of Europe. The Ottomans favored coffee as their social drink of choice, given they couldn't drink alcohol. This led to fears that the widespread consumption of coffee might lead to the adoption of Ottoman beliefs. Some even urged Pope Clement VIII to ban it. But, in a surprising twist, Pope Clement refused, reportedly saying that coffee was so delicious that it would be a pity to let the infidels have exclusive use of it. Now remember, after this papal blessing, coffee was quickly embraced in Europe. It was mostly about its association with the Ottoman Empire, and its appearance, a simple black liquid or small bean, wasn't controversial. But the same cannot be said for bananas. Yes, you heard me right, folks. Bananas.
Bananas? Now, you have to give us some examples here. How could a fruit cause such controversy?
It's actually quite amusing. The shape of the fruit, its resemblance to certain body parts, caused quite a stir. The banana's phallic shape was the primary reason for its initial unpopularity. But look at us now. We can't imagine a world without bananas in our fruit bowls. As we venture further into the 19th century, we find the American public being a bit prudish, especially concerning bananas. Yes, we're still on that topic. It seems the suggestive shape of the banana made it somewhat taboo. When they were consumed, it was in ways that concealed their shape. Imagine having to wrap a banana in foil and slice it up inside a bowl to spare anyone the sight of the immoral fruit. Andrew Preston of the Boston Fruit Company, and later United Fruit, played a significant role in changing this perception. He highlighted the low cost and health benefits of bananas, and to make them seem more socially acceptable, he issued postcards showing Victorian ladies eating them at picnics. Now let's pivot to art and culture. Joseph Stalin, despite his own questionable moral compass, had strong views on the subject. Dmitri Shostakovich, a celebrated young composer, had a close encounter with Stalin's moral policing in 1936. Shostakovich was watching a performance of his opera, Lady Macbeth of Mtsensk District, when he saw Stalin walk out. A few days later, an official review savagely criticized the opera, and it quickly disappeared from theaters. The sexual scenes in the music were condemned, and the opera was accused of tickling the perverted taste of the bourgeoisie. Now, this wasn't just about the explicit content. The portrayal of an adulterous female murderer may have also ruffled some feathers. The incident led Soviet officials to define the kind of art they found acceptable, a style that would later be known as socialist realism. Censorship isn't a thing of the past, though. In fact, in some places it has gotten worse. Music, in general, continues to face censorship. In 2023, Taliban rulers in Afghanistan sought to ban music. Not just Western music or pop music, but music in general. Performing or broadcasting music on TV or radio was outlawed. According to their Vice and Virtue Ministry, it's because music causes moral corruption and leads the youth to go astray. A chilling reminder of how moral panic can stifle artistic expression, don't you think? Music censorship in Afghanistan is not a new thing. The ban on music dates back to the Taliban rule in the 90s. When the ban was reinstated, they organized bonfires where instruments were destroyed. Many Afghan musicians who had experienced this before took measures to ensure their safety when the Taliban took power again in 2021.
Sounds like a difficult time for artists, but what about the musicians who stayed back?
Those who stayed have faced harassment, humiliation, and discrimination. Now, let's shift gears a little. Let's discuss a different form of moral panic that manifested in sports, specifically surfing.
Surfing? That seems unexpected. What happened?
Indeed. When European voyagers arrived in Hawaii in the late 1700s and 1800s, they were fascinated by the native custom of heinalu, or wave sliding, which we know today as surfing. But when the missionaries arrived, they disapproved of the sport.
And what didn't they like about it?
Interestingly, their primary issues with surfing involved its traditional practice, often in the nude or with minimal clothing, and the fact that both men and women participated. They discouraged locals from surfing and introduced them to new games, which led to a decrease in the popularity of surfing. Now, moving from sports to academia, let's talk about Bertrand Russell. In the 40s in New York, he was seen as a morally questionable influence on the students at the College of the City of New York.
Oh, I've heard of him. He's a renowned philosopher, right?
Yes, exactly. The issue with Russell was his liberal views about sex. There was a fear that he would corrupt the moral compass of young students, ignoring his contributions to philosophy, logic, and mathematics, and his value as a professor.
So it's all about moral panic, isn't it? Regardless of the field, literature, music, sports, or academia, it seems people fear what they don't understand or what challenges their beliefs.
You're absolutely right. Fear of the unknown or the different often drives moral panic, leading to censorship and suppression. But history has shown us time and again, these attempts are often futile in the long run. Creativity and innovation always find a way to thrive. The fallout from Russell's controversial views didn't end there. A family took the matter to court to cancel his appointment, fearing his immorality would negatively influence young minds. They won, leading to the mayor withdrawing funding for Russell's professorship.
That's quite extreme, losing a job over one's beliefs.
Now let's take a step back in time to the 16th and 17th centuries. Strict religious or moral behavior, often referred to as puritanical, was taking root in England. Members of the Church of England, known as Puritans, redefined what it meant to live a godly life.
And how did that impact society?
These Puritans disapproved of any form of merrymaking or festivities. Laws were passed in England and colonial America banning what they considered immoral: drinking, dancing, games, and even the celebration of Christmas.
Banned Christmas? I find that hard to believe.
Yes, it's true. They were against pagan traditions like trees and decorations being incorporated into Christmas celebrations. And it didn't stop there. Mince pies and Christmas pudding were off the menu, no caroling was allowed, and stores had to remain open all day on Christmas. Christmas wasn't recognized as a legal holiday in some U.S. states until 1856. Now, from historical bans, let's move to controversial statues.
I'm curious about this. What made these statues controversial?
Well, here's an example from Thailand. In 2023, a 13-foot-tall statue looking like a gigantic black vampire with angel wings was displayed outside a hotel in Bangkok. It raised concerns in the community.
Did people find it scary or offensive?
Some people believed it promoted devil worship and could lead others to do evil deeds. The Council of Artists Promoting Buddhism called for its removal, and another group wanted it moved to a less visible location, citing threats to their culture and beliefs. Fear of the unknown can indeed manifest in various forms and intensities. The controversial statue in Thailand was eventually removed. However, the official reason given was not because of its evil appearance or the fear it instilled in people, but the lack of proper permission from the hotel to display it.
So it seems the fear and controversy surrounding it was not the primary reason for its removal then.
Correct. It's a clear example of how fear of moral corruption or deviation from societal norms can lead to censorship or suppression in various forms. But as we've seen throughout history, these methods rarely succeed in the face of the human urge to express, create, and innovate.
Absolutely. It's a testament to the resilience of creativity and freedom of expression.
From silk to surfboards, from bananas to operas, and even Christmas itself, we've journeyed through history exploring the surprising things that were once considered threats to morality. It's fascinating to see how societal norms, fears, and even acts of censorship have shaped our history and culture, often in surprising ways.
It's indeed a testament to both the diversity and the complexity of human behavior. The past has shown us how fear, prejudice, or even misunderstandings can lead to bans and censorship. But as we've seen, creativity and the human spirit always find a way to persist and flourish.
Exactly, and that's the true punchline here. Regardless of the societal norms, the human urge to express, create, and innovate always finds a way.
And on that note, we'd like to thank you all for joining us on this fascinating journey through history. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to blast that like button, leave a comment, and share it with your friends.
Yes, we would love to hear your thoughts about the episode. And don't forget to tune in next time as we uncover more curiosities from the past. Until then, take care and keep exploring.
Goodbye, everyone, and stay curious.
I found this fascinating information in an article titled 10 Surprising Things That Were Once Said to Promote Immoral Behavior by Kieran Torbuck on Listverse, published on April 1st, 2024. The full link is in the video description if you want to delve deeper into the subject, all right? Now I'm signing off.